A guaranteed blockbuster. A superstar actor in his dream role, and then overnight, it all gets canceled. Today, we're digging into the pretty shocking story of Black Shaman and figuring out how one of Japan's biggest movie projects just completely imploded.
So, that's the big question, right? How does one of the country's biggest stars get dropped from a major film, seemingly out of the blue? Let's trace the events, step by step, and see exactly what went down.
Okay, so it all kicked off with just one announcement. But wow, what an announcement it was. It came out of nowhere, it was super decisive, and it just left the entire industry completely stunned.
The news was just blunt. Masaharu Fukuyama, we're talking about a household name here, the guy from the massive Galileo series, was out. The production company made the call, and it threw the entire project into absolute chaos. And to really get just how huge this decision was, you first have to understand what this movie was supposed to be.
Yeah, this wasn't just another film. This thing was shaping up to be one of the biggest releases of the year. It had all the right ingredients for a massive, massive success story. On paper, this was just the perfect formula for a hit. You had Fukuyama, who's basically a national treasure, teaming up again with best-selling author Keigo Higashino. They were so successful together, they were literally called the Golden Tag Team. He was finally going to play a dark hero, a role he'd apparently wanted for years, and he was co-starring for the first time with the super popular Kasumi Aramura. It was a can't-miss project. So, what on earth went wrong?
And here's where it all goes sideways. The whole project didn't get derailed because of some on-set drama. Nope. It was something totally external, a shockwave that came from way outside the production. So the trouble didn't even start with the movie. It started over at the Fuji TV network. They had an internal investigation going on about inappropriate conduct, and it led to this formal report being published. And that report was about to cause some serious damage, way beyond what anyone at the network expected.
Now get this is the craziest part. Fukuyama wasn't even the subject of the report. His name was just mentioned in it. But, for the film's producers, even that tiny, distant connection was way too risky. They were terrified of a PR nightmare, so they decided to act, and they acted fast. And just like that, the whole thing fell apart. It was a total collapse. Fukuyama's dream role? Poof, gone. That team-up with Kasumi Arimura that everyone was so excited about, well, that became a phantom collaboration. It just never happened. And that golden partnership with the author? Put on ice. The entire blockbuster was stopped dead in its tracks.
A decision this huge is going to make waves. And sure enough, the second the news hit, social media just exploded. People were shocked, they were disappointed, and of course, they had a lot of theories about what was really going on behind the curtain.
And you saw this kind of comment everywhere. People weren't just hyped for another Fukuyama movie, they were really specifically excited to see him do something different, to take on this darker, edgier character. And now, that opportunity was just gone.
And it wasn't just about his role. The fact that he was supposed to star with Aryamura, losing that pairing was a real gut punch for fans. Their chemistry was a huge part of the hype, right? It just goes to show how invested people get in these projects.
Pretty quickly, you saw the fan reaction turn a bit cynical, though you could also say pretty realistic. The speculation started bubbling up that this wasn't just about the producers. It had to be pressure from sponsors, from the money people who wanted to avoid any hint of controversy. It's a classic case of what they call adult circumstances in the industry. The powerful invisible forces making the real decisions.
Okay, so the star is gone, the public is freaking out, and the whole project is just stuck. So where do they go from here? What happens next for everyone caught up in this mess?
So to really get what's happening with the film, you've got to know this Japanese term, tanaage. It doesn't just mean delayed. It means the project has been put up on a high shelf indefinitely. There's no plan to bring it back down. Basically, the movie we were all waiting for, it's gone. So the aftermath here really hits two different targets. First, for Fukuyama, this is a major career setback. His image takes a hit, and he's going to have to rebuild trust with producers. And then for the film itself, it's a total nightmare. The project is completely stalled, and now they have to do the impossible, recast a role that was basically written for their original star. And all of this leaves us with one big, lingering question. The whole thing happened so fast, right? It really shows you how quickly a career can be turned upside down in an industry that's now all about avoiding risk. So in this new era of